Good evening. I'll call to order the March 22nd, 2023 meeting of the Chautauqua County Legislature. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Bankowski is absent. Mr. Davis.
Here.
Mrs. Gustafson. Here. Mr. Harmon is absent. Mr. Heiser.
Here.
Mr. Hemmer is absent. Mr. Muldowney is absent. Mr. Nelson.
Here.
Mr. Nebel.
Here.
Ms. Parker.
Here.
Mr. Pavlak.
Here.
Mr. Penhallow.
Here.
Mr. Proctor.
Here.
Mrs. Rankin is absent. Mr. Scudder.
Here.
Mr. Torres.
Here.
Ms. Vanstrom.
Here.
Mr. Wilfong.
Here.
Chairman Chagnon.
Here.
There are 14 members present and 5 members absent. There's quorum.
Okay, at this time, we will have the Pledge of Allegiance and the prayer by Legislator Wilfong. Allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
God, thank you for the men and women who serve our country in leadership roles for our families. Please provide our leaders with reminders each day of why they have decided to dedicate their lives to public service, and use that commitment to encourage them. Give them peace when their work takes them away from their families. We also pray specifically for the wives, husbands, and children of our leaders. We ask that you draw them near and give them the wisdom that we know best supports your goals. Amen.
Legislator Gustafson.
At this time, I request that we take a moment of silence to remember Jack W. Knowlton. Jack was a 60-year dedicated member of the Lakewood Fire Department. Over the past years, he served as fire chief for 10 years, assistant chief for 6 years, president for 10 years. He was also a deputy county fire coordinator, 3rd Battalion for 22 years, and he joined the Chautauqua County Fire Chiefs Association in 1970 and served as president until 2011. He was a member and past chairman of the Chautauqua County Fire Advisory Board and served as an instructor for the Chautauqua County Heavy Rescue Skills Course for 10 years and a certified New York State fire instructor. Jack was a mentor to all and will be sorely missed. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, on our agenda is approval of the minutes of our February 22nd, 2023 meeting. Do I have a motion to approve? Legislator Vanstrom, and the second by Legislator Gustafson. Thank you. Discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? They are carried. Now, this brings us to our first privilege of the floor. Members of the public may comment on any subject relating to any local law, resolution, or motion appearing on tonight's agenda. Individual comments are limited to 3 minutes, and comments representing a group shall be limited to 5 minutes. Is there anyone wishing to address the first privilege of the floor?
Thank you.
Please introduce yourself.
Thank you. My name is Peter Weimer. I'm from We Want You Cottages on Chautauqua Lake at 4438 West Lake Road. I'm here to comment of my obvious opposition to any increased bed tax to be used on Chautauqua Lake. I get it, but I think everybody should be on an equal playing field before we have to raise the bed tax. When the town of Chautauqua raised our assessed value to 100% back in 2022, my taxes went in 2021 from just under $16,000 to $40 short of $30,000. And I feel that I pay into my fair share of maintenance and fees that Chautauqua County and town of Chautauqua is donating or generating to the tax base of Chautauqua County. And that before you go and raise a bed tax, and everybody around the lake should be assessed at 100% assessment, just like we want you in the town of Chautauqua. We shouldn't be carrying it on our shoulders for the rest of the lake to carry the majority of a tax increase. Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to address the first privilege of the floor? Please.
Good evening. My name is Rosemary Stage, and I'm the president and owner of the Maple Springs Lakeside Inn in Bemis Point, New York, a small bed and breakfast on Chautauqua Lake. I've been in the hospitality business most of my life. I'm a proud member of the Conservative Party, and I cannot believe that P.J. Wendell, who elected to reduce taxes, is proposing this increase. About 20 years ago, County Executive Mark Thomas sat in my living room and said this occupancy tax was for marketing Chautauqua County tourism. Of this dedicated revenue stream of income for tourism marketing, only 0.5% of the 5% now collected goes to the Visitors Bureau. That's shameful. We pay some of the highest taxes in the country. When we add up sales tax, bed tax, utilities taxes, sewer taxes, and a host of other fees, almost 50% of my gross income is attributed to taxes, an amount unheard of in the hospitality industry. Why is one of the most conservative legislatures in the state considering more taxes? I own 400 feet of Chautauqua lakefront, and I'm just as concerned about the lake as any other lakefront owner. But I can say to you tonight, increasing the occupancy tax is not the solution to our problems. You have millions of unspent COVID money. Please use that. Our guests do know when our taxes increase. When they examine their bill at the end of the stay, we get constant feedback for the amount of tax that has to be paid. When they compare the total bill to other vacation areas, we will become more uncompetitive and crossed off the future vacation list. As you know, New York State has forced an increase in the minimum wage. We now pay a 14 or 15-year-old employee, some that literally don't even know how to turn on a hose, over $14 an hour. The constant layering of additional costs by state and county government must stop. You're suffocating the small business owners of New York. Thank you for the time to listen to me and all that you do for us. I realize you have a difficult job.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to address the first privilege of the floor?
Thank you very much, sir. My name is Santu Rao. I'm from Dunkirk, New York, and we are suffering too much taxes, and we oppose the occupancy taxes increase. So please consider to lower the tax. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Hi, my name is Julie Holland, and I've owned, operated, and improved Irwin Bay Cottages on Chautauqua Lake for 20 years. I was raised in Chautauqua County, moved away as a young adult, and came back to invest in tourism in our county. I'd like to address the proposed occupancy tax increase. I have 5 short points. I've not seen any mention of the proposed occupancy tax increase until last weekend's edition of the Post-Journal. Don't you think it's necessary for the lodging providers in the county, many of whom are not in residence at this time of year, to have the opportunity to weigh in on this? Number 2, a 60% increase is a big jump, especially at a time when inflation has impacted everyone's expendable income. In order to survive, our lodging businesses have had to increase their rates significantly just to stay solvent. Because of the higher rates, the total occupancy tax dollars collected at the current rate of 5% will also produce more income to the county. No one likes an increase in taxes, including the tourists who spend their hard-earned vacation dollars here. Number 3, The proposed increase in occupancy tax begs the question of how these funds will be used. Will they be used for yet another study? Growing administrative costs that are going to entities already supported with county funds? Or will they be used towards definitive actions that will enhance our lakes and waterways? Funding for lakes and waterways is a broad term, and it has been evidenced by the numerous entities that have touted their solutions for a long time. Number 4, how much of this increase will be used to advance the promotion and development of tourism? After all, the proposal to increase the occupancy tax is solely at the hands of tourism-related businesses, and a portion of any increase should be dedicated to the promotion of tourism. Number 5, I ask that you think about the impact such a large increase could have on one of the few areas that are thriving in our county. If indeed you deem that an increase is in order, I encourage you to consider an increase of something significantly less than 60%. If this passes in any shape or form, it's important to recognize that many of the visitors to the county make their plans and payments long before their stay. In order to keep this from becoming an administrative nightmare for our lodging providers, my recommendation is that significant advance notice is given for any increase and that it wouldn't take effect until January 1st of the year it's being implemented. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to address the first privilege of the floor?
Ned Barone, Jamestown, New York. I'm not here to talk about the occupancy tax or about anything with my particular department. However, I would like to applaud the efforts of legislators Rankin and Proctor in regard to the motion that's before the legislature this evening, making April awareness, the month of awareness for organ transplantation. In addition, I just want to applaud the efforts of Larry Barmore, our county clerk. I know for the last couple of years, he's encouraged his department, the Department of Motor Vehicles, to make the public aware of what a great effort that is and what a public service it is to encourage donation of organs for those in need. And I notice also in the motion the number of individuals that are waiting or on transplant lists and how important this particular encouragement or making the public aware of what a great effort that can be and how many lives it can save. So I would encourage the legislature to move forward with that motion. And I would also encourage all the different department heads in the county to do their part in making the public aware of what they can do to help shorten those recipient list for the people that are waiting for transplants, especially in our state, and what a significant difference it could make in everyone's life. And of course, everyone is aware, I'm sure, that there's no greater gift than someone can give than the gift of life. And that's what organ transplantation is all about. And I know this personally because I've been through 2 separate organ transplants, and I'm the recipient of a kidney transplant and a pancreas transplant. So I know how important it is. And I know that in my department, I have brochures available, And any little part we can do on behalf of shortening those lists, I think would be something really good. And it goes beyond politics. It goes beyond anything else that we deal with here in the county. And it's something that could make a difference in everyone's life. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening. My name is Praveen Patel, and I am from Dunkirk, New York. I'm the owner operator of Best Western and Quality Inn. 30 years that I've been in hospitality business. We have always referred our customer as a guest. Hotel business is not the only one that is consist of tourism. There are many other businesses that are involved, but the hotels are the only one being sort of penalized with imposing the bed tax. We call bed tax is a dirty word. I'm here just to make it simple. Forget the 3% increase. I'm proposing 3% decrease and find the other means to increase more money that county may need. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to address the first privilege of the floor? Seeing no one, we'll close the first privilege of the floor. And that brings us on the agenda to the State of the County Address by County Executive Wendell.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, county legislators, department heads, and fellow Chautauqua County residents. I would like to welcome you to tonight's legislature meeting and the 2023 State of the County Address. Before I begin here this evening, I would like to recognize and take this opportunity to thank several individuals, department heads and their staff, my cabinet, my staff, our legislature, our state and federal leaders. I appreciate the day-to-day issues each one of you deal with, the knowledge, leadership, and dedication you provide. And I'm extremely grateful and proud of the professionalism you continue to give our county. Moving forward, I'm excited to continue to lead this administration and provide workable solutions as we move Chautauqua County into an even more prosperous future. It has been an honor to serve you in county government for 11 years. I previously stated and pledged that I would focus on 3 pillars: strengthening our communities, bringing economic revitalization to Chautauqua County, and investing in our future. I also pledged to create a more effective and efficient county government. Keeping these pledges in mind tonight, I would like to highlight the successes we have had over the last year and discuss the challenges 2022 have brought and how we overcame those challenges. As we begin 2023, our county government is strong, and our opportunities to prosper are a continued commitment. My administration plans to invest in our workforce, our infrastructure, our communities, and our economy. As of today, our 2022 contribution to our general fund balance is $19.4 million. This contribution is created in part by holding our teams to fiscally responsible budgets, an increase in the tax foreclosure auction, an overdue settlement of the tribal compact, as well as continued success in our sales tax revenue. With the work of our fiscal team and my guidance, we have been able to provide a tax rate reduction for the last 2 years, totaling 71 cents per thousand, while maintaining the ability to provide contributions to the fund balance. With the utilization of a well-guided fiscal management plan, over the past 3 years, we have increased the overall contributions to the fund balance to meet and exceed the maximum recommended levels by our financial management plan. These actions were taken with purpose and are entering a time of high inflation, increasing interest rates, and pending recession. I remain committed to holding financial stability during any economic crisis. Within the past 3 years, 1,123 new business licenses have been issued here in Chautauqua County. Even facing unprecedented challenges of inflation and pandemic, Chautauqua County continues to be a place where people choose to start and grow their business. As a result of countywide efforts, Chautauqua County was able to witness record investments in 2022. The Chautauqua County Industrial Development Agency reported 50 approved projects with a combined total of $501 million of committed investments. The committed investments will create nearly 300 new jobs, retain an additional 774 existing jobs, and create construction projects and construction jobs throughout our county. To better serve the evolving needs within our community, we are restructuring our public health department under the guidance of interim director Michael Falk. The health department will debut its mobile clinic in 2023. This will assist with public health efforts in the community and allow collaboration with community partners, including, but not limited to, lead testing for children, augmented vaccination clinics, partnering with mental health regarding education for opioid use disorder and connecting residents to treatment, having a presence at farmer markets and other public events, educating about healthy food options and overall wellness. The mobile clinic will also assist with emergency preparedness in case of emergency events. Our mental hygiene director, Carmelo Hernandez, has worked to integrate our Department of Social Services and mental hygiene. While working with each team to break down barriers, we determined that this new integration and refocus was in the best interest of the community to provide a continuity of care for those who are being served by both departments. This new integration of departments was born out of the commitment to provide effective and efficient care for our individuals and families in a prioritized manner for the greatest success. And if I could, just for a moment, we received this today. In fact, just yesterday, Chris Marcello, the director of Office for Mental Health, Western Region Office, praised Chautauqua County at the 2023 OMH Community Engagement in-person feedback session at Jamestown Community College North Campus. Mr. Marcello also spoke on the appreciation of Chautauqua County to come to the table with ideas and suggestions to enhance and improve services they provide for Chautauqua County residents. Our fiscal managers are leading an effort to centralize our county fiscal teams. The team has been able to see rewarding success in the efficiencies created and identify additional avenues for improvement. The finance department, under the direction of Kitty Crow, will be implementing new software to manage occupancy tax compliance and payments. This new software will allow the county to better monitor noncompliance and allow property owners to register and file returns online. Our fiscal workforce is committed to coming together to create a modernized approach to the county's fiscal management. Our sheriff's department, under Sheriff Jim Quattrone, has created an unsolved cases team to focus on unsolved homicides and missing person cases. As a result, there has been an increase in community communication, generating many new leads, reducing the turnaround time for works in progress at our state labs. And as a result of these successes, cases are moving closer to closure. For the Office of the Aging, they've led initiatives such as assisting local home care agencies and our Meals on Wheels services. They've also secured a $2 million grant to assist low to moderate income seniors to improve their properties. They are also excited to announce the return of the ever-popular annual senior picnic. In 2022 and 2023, our Department of Public Facilities undertook several projects to improve services to Chautauqua County residents. We acquired a long-arm excavator as well as 3 new plow trucks to adequately be able to respond to different natural hazards we encounter here in Chautauqua County. CHQ Transit has added 3 new trolleys to their fleet, which will allow for the creation of 2 new tourist routes. We've completed a $6 million runway project at the Jamestown Airport, completed the rehabilitation of Hangar C, and we've begun construction on Hangar 3 at our Dunkirk Airport. Our Chautauqua County Emergency Medical Services Department has provided 5,801 advanced life support emergency responses in our county in 2022. The ability to rapidly access this level of advanced emergency care in conjunction with our local volunteer fire and EMS departments saves lives every day. Utilizing ARPA funding, CCEMS has purchased an ambulance to proactively assist with interfacility transports of our residents to higher levels of care when required. This new endeavor is a means to create a more fiscally solvent emergency services department here in the county. During my tenure as our county executive, I've worked closely with Jamestown Community College and provided support to President Daniel DeMart to enhance our students' abilities to have the necessary skills needed to enter today's technology advanced job market. The recent creation of their Industrial and Building Automation Center, along with the Technology Institute, will prepare students with the necessary skills to enter our local workforce. I will continue to prioritize my goals to intensify the workforce readiness program. As a county, we will remain vigilant in the support of Jamestown Community College. Last year, I was proud to announce at my State of the County address that in December of 2021, we recorded our lowest unemployment rate since the late 1990s, an impressive 3.5%. Well, let me tell you, friends, today I'm even more proud to announce that we did even better in 2022. In October of this past year, Chautauqua County recorded an unemployment rate of just 2.9%, the lowest rate since 1990, 32 years. The effectiveness of our efforts demonstrate the ability to increase employment of our county residents, and I am confident we will continue to grow our workforce and bring more high-paying jobs to Chautauqua County. As we continue our efforts to invest in our infrastructure, we have secured state and federal grant funding to begin Phase 2 of the West Side expansion of the South and Center Chautauqua Lake Sewer District. I remain committed to improving our water and sewer infrastructure around Chautauqua Lake, and this Phase 2 will divert an estimated 62 million gallons of wastewater a year to the proper wastewater treatment facility. As we continue our commitment to provide broadband and internet service to our residents of Chautauqua County, we have partnered with a broadband consultant, ECC Technologies, to develop our strategic plan. We are currently in the analysis phase of identifying our current infrastructure and pinpointing our underserved populations. We are working with Windstream, and a longtime partner of over 100 years of communication services, DFT Communication. When complete, the analysis will provide our team with the ability to access our American Rescue Plan Act funding, as well as our federal infrastructure bill funding to meet the needs of our communities. Through collaboration between our county Department of Planning and Development and the City of Dunkirk, a $10 million downtown revitalization initiative grant was received. Our teams worked together during the grant application process to share technical assistance, conceptualize, develop, and design projects contained within the application. We are proud of the challenging work within this collaborative effort that will allow the city to utilize this significant funding source to aid in public and private projects to transform downtown Dunkirk. In our Chautauqua County Sheriff's Department, it is currently working on the development of a threat assessment team. The team is a collaborative effort, including myself, members of our local schools, law enforcement, mental health services, and social services. This team is taking a proactive approach to focus on preventing targeted acts of violence, and this team will work in concert to provide the best outcomes for those individuals at risk. In response to our evolving mental health crisis, our focus has been to utilize many different Chautauqua County agencies working together to provide the best support and assistance. As mentioned, the Chautauqua County Office of Mental Hygiene is now integrated with our Social Services Division to proactively identify overlapping service needs to prioritize and provide assistance required by individuals and families. Our Sheriff's Department has undergone extensive crisis intervention team training through a New York State assisted grant. This training has provided our officers with the tools they need to provide a safe assessment on the level of intervention support required. Our Sheriff's Department has also obtained specialized video mobile telecommunication devices that will facilitate access to telemedical mental health services at the point of need. New York State has awarded $30 million to UPMC Chautauqua in the form of a statewide healthcare facility transformation program. This provides grants that help improve patient care by supporting high-quality facilities serving inpatient, primary care, mental health, substance abuse disorders, and long-term care needs of communities throughout the state. And as recently as Friday, I have spoken with the governor's office and staff to gain assistance to maintain health care in northern Chautauqua County. This investment in local health care allows for the ability of our community to be able to access essential health care services right here in Chautauqua County from our local safety net providers. The Chautauqua County Industrial Development Agency, Partnership for Economic Growth, and the Chautauqua County Department for Planning and Development are continuing to work diligently to advance priority reactivation projects. These projects include the Furniture Mart building in Jamestown, the Welch's building in Westfield, the Silver Creek Main Street School, the Talcott Street building in Dunkirk, the Truck Light building in Falconer, Lakeshore Hospital, the Chautauqua River in Jamestown, the Mayville Waterfront Park adjacent to Lakeside Park, and the former NRG power plant. As these projects come to fruition, they will help transform the economies of their communities. Along with the strategic reactivation initiatives, we have also recognized the need for new shovel-ready sites. With funding from Chautauqua County, the CCIDA, and ARPA funding, we look to leverage state and federal funds to purchase 150 acres in the western part of our county to build out the needed infrastructure to establish a new industrial park. This will address the critical need for shovel-ready sites right here in Chautauqua County. I am committed to establish sustainable funding for our lakes and waterways. This effort will allow foundations to return to their philanthropic work as we focus on alternative revenue streams. But my primary focus is not to place the burden directly on our local homeowners and taxpayers. Currently, 60% of the occupancy tax funding goes to travel and tourism, while 40% goes to lakes and waterways. Unlike other counties, I remain committed to returning 100% of the collected occupancy tax funds back to the industry, not using it to cover salaries nor budgetary shortfalls. I have requested that the Chautauqua Watershed and Management Alliance Executive Director create a collaborative management strategy for Chautauqua Lake, utilizing data provided from multiple reliable scientific studies and reports. I am confident that with the experience of our stakeholders, a strong collaborative effort, Chautauqua Lake will be on the path to sustainable management and maintenance. Some of the operational challenges we faced in 2022 include unfunded mandates to increase the use of medication-assisted treatment in our county jail. We were able to properly identify the magnitude of this impact and effectively and actively manage the associated cost due to a strong and conservative fiscal position we had provided for our public health department. The governor's budget is currently intending to withhold $4 million of FMAP funding. The federal Medicaid assisted percentages, which is a pass-through money intended to go directly to the county from the federal government, instead is being withheld to meet their budgetary challenges. I am working vigilantly with our state and federal representatives, as well as other county executives across the state, to release this money that is dedicated to our counties to support our local programs to assist our direct community needs. We are in a state of inflation that is unprecedented in the last 40 years. We will utilize aggressively conservative budgeting that will allow taxpayers to keep more of their hard-earned money by their decreased tax rate and effective management of our expenses and resources. As I said last year in my 2022 State of the County address, the pathway to a thriving county demands economic growth, workforce readiness, strong communities, and effective and efficient county government, as well as investing in our county's infrastructure. After decades of population and economic decline, I believe that Chautauqua County is currently on the precipice of greatness. It is my continued goal to make Chautauqua County the exceptional place that it is to live, raise or start your family, work or start a business, and to create a community where people want to visit and stay to experience everything we have to offer. I've always had an open door policy in my office, and I would encourage anyone who may have a question, concern, or suggestion that needs to be discussed to please reach out to my office, pick up the phone, or send me an email. As we know, reading things sometimes is not always factual and can cause greater issues or problems, be it social media, newspaper, or even television. Without knowing the critical facts, these situations become increasingly problematic. I believe it is critical and necessary to have transparency in order to keep honest and effective communication. In closing, we are on the path to greatness. Everything that we've accomplished this year is proof of that, and we will continue those efforts in 2023. I pride myself on always striving to exceed expectations and continuing our ongoing success. It has truly been an honor to be here with you this evening to be able to present my 2023 State of the County Address. Thank you for your attention. I wish you all a very good evening. God bless you, and God bless Chautauqua County.
Thank you, County Executive Wendell.
There are no veto messages from County Executive Wendell from the February 22nd, 2023 meeting. There are 7 communications listed on the agenda. Are there any items you wish to have read aloud? Please contact our office if you would like a copy of these items. All right. Resolutions 84-23. Confirm appointment and reappointments, Chautauqua County Fire Advisory Board.
Legislator Vanstrom.
I'd like to make a motion to block 84-23 through 87-23 based on the fact they're all reappointments.
Okay, we have a motion and a second by Legislator Parker. Any discussion on the motion to block resolutions 84-23 through 87-23? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? They are blocked.
85-23, confirm appointments and reappointments, Community Service Board. 86-23, confirm appointment, Conewango Watershed Commission. 87-23, confirm appointment, County of Chautauqua Industrial Development Agency Board of Directors.
Then are there any questions or comments on any of the blocked resolutions, 84-23 through 87-23? Any questions, comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of the blocked resolutions, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? They're carried.
88-23, a resolution temporarily amending Portland Pomfret Dunkirk User Charge Resolution 262-19.
Legislator Scudder.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple points of clarification on this resolution. This resolution is here because there was a district billing error. It totaled approximately $4,000. It involved 3 commercial users. The mistake dates back about 1 year, but the charge is going forward and it will not be retroactive. So just a little clarification there. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments on the resolution after the fine explanation by Legislator Scudder? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried.
89-23, acceptance of Accelerated Transit Capital Grant.
Any comments, any questions on the resolution? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried.
90-23, amend funding supplemental agreement number 3 with NY State DOT for performance of federal aid project PIN 5761.82.
Any comments, any questions on the resolution? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried.
91-23, confirmation of amendments to the water purchase/supply agreement between the City of Dunkirk and the County of Chautauqua and its North Chautauqua County Water District. 18-39-04/15-3901.
Are there any comments, any questions on the resolution? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried.
92-23, authorize acceptance of indigent legal services grant for the period of January 1st, 2023 to December 31st, 2025.
Any questions, any discussion on the resolution? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Carried.
93-23, Emergency Services 2023 Budget Amendment for FY 2020 Technical Rescue and Urban Search and Rescue Grant.
Any comments, any discussion on the resolution? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Carried.
94-23, authorize agreement with NYS Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation for marine equipment licenses.
Any comments, any questions on the resolution? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Carried.
95-23, authorize execution of NYS Office of Homeland Security funding grant for domestic terrorism prevention, FY 22.
Any questions, any comments on the resolution? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Carried.
96-23, amend 2023 budget for Office of the Sheriff.
Any comments, any discussion on the resolution? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Carried.
97-23, authorize execution of NYS DCJS body-worn camera funding, FY 2023.
Any discussion, any questions on the resolution? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Carried.
98-23, amend 2022 budget for year-end reconciliations, social services.
Any questions, any comments on the resolution? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Carried.
99-23, amend 2022 and 2023 budgets for grant revenue, mental hygiene.
Any comments, any questions on the resolution? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Carried.
100-23, amend 2023 budget to implement the renovations of Carts Hub Junction project using funding from the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA.
Are there any questions, any discussion on the resolution? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Carried.
101-23, amend 2023 budget to implement the storage assessment project using funding from the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA.
Any comments, any discussion on the resolution? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Carried.
102-23, amend 2023 budget to implement the Conewango Dam's sediment removal and valve rehabilitation project using funding from the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA.
Any questions, any comments on the resolution? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Carried.
103-23, amend 2023 budget to implement the purchase of heavy equipment project using funding from the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA.
Is there any questions, any comments on the resolution? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Carried.
104-23, amend 2023 budget to increase funding for the District Attorney Office expansion project within the Chautauqua County American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA spending plan.
Are there any comments or are there any questions on the resolution? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Carried.
105-23, amend 2023 budget to implement the dispatch furniture replacement project using funding from the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA.
Are there any comments or any clarification on the resolution? Legislator Vanstrom.
This is not for chairs or comfortable things. This is for console systems.
For a console system for the dispatch center.
Yes, does anybody else want to clarify that in more detail. It's not chairs or comfortable rugs or anything fancy. It's necessary equipment.
Okay, thank you. The title is a bit deceiving. Any other comments, clarifications on the resolution? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Carried.
106-23, amend 2023 budget to implement the Chautauqua Lake and Watershed Coordinated Work Plan using funding from the 2% occupancy tax program reserve.
Are there any questions or any comments on the resolution? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried.
107-23, authorize use of Chautauqua County 3% occupancy tax reserve funding for Tri-County Arts Council.
Any questions, any comments on the resolution? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried.
108-23, requesting amendment of state legislation regarding imposition of occupancy tax.
Legislator Scudder.
I would like to make a motion to amend this resolution, removing the added 3% and restoring it back to the current 5%.
Do we have a Legislator Pavlik seconds the motion. Discussion on the motion to amend. Legislator Parker.
I want to say that I'm glad that this is being proposed as an amendment because the proposal was 9 days ago and it did not include facts pertaining to the need for a 3% bed tax increase in the occupancy tax, which would have given which would give Chautauqua County the highest occupancy tax in New York State. A study of the benefits versus the cost was not included, nor was a public discussion of the inclusion of stakeholders in consideration of this increase, nor any plans for the use of the funds. A lot of questions remain, so I just wanted to support this Legislator Scudder's amendment. Thank you.
Thank you. Legislator Nelson.
Yeah, I too would like to say that I support this amendment. I understand the importance for increasing tourism to the county and our efforts to support Chautauqua Lake and our waterways, but I had some serious concerns about this additional tax. I know that in most cases, the tax is paid by people visiting the county, not our residents, but I think Mr. Tell said it well when he said in his letter that this tax will not go unnoticed by hotel guests. So that was a good point. And I think we want to encourage people to visit Chautauqua County. And we also want them to come back. So I support this amendment. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Legislator Vanstrom.
It's not just a cut and dry issue. Any village, city, and county can request and implement an occupancy tax, which would push it far higher than this proposal. This proposal is not necessarily a negative proposal. It may be premature at this moment, but it is not ill in conception. It is being developed in a positive way for positive things like our waterways and tourism and recreational events. So just because we're waiting right now doesn't mean I wouldn't reconsider this in the future. And other places in the state can pinch you a lot harder than this and do, including parking fees and parking fee assessments on top of the parking fees, if you even get close to the east side of our state. So on that end, you know, this is implemented in a lot of places on multi-levels. In Chautauqua County, the only occupancy tax is implemented at the county level. I don't know of one village or city in this county that has one beyond what we have. So we're not getting layers and layers and layers of punishment going on here to the tourists. So that's where I stand today. Thank you so much for your consideration.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments on the proposed amendment to the resolution? Legislator Scudder.
Yeah, I'd also like to state that at the 5%, we're already asking for extra from the state. So I would hate to jeopardize what we have at the 5% by asking for 8.
Thank you. Other questions, comments? Legislator Nebel.
Mr. Chairman, one of the speakers made the suggestion that if we need to increase the occupancy tax, that we do so gradually. That person thought that 60% was too much of an increase all at once. I think that's a good suggestion, something that we should consider in the future.
Thank you. Other comments? Legislator Torres.
Mr. Chairman, given that there's still some some unanswered questions out there, I respectfully move to table this resolution, refer it back to the appropriate committees, including planning, economic development.
I have to turn to the parliamentarian now. We have a motion on the floor, and you're proposing another motion to table. Yeah. We have to finish the motion to amend before we would consider another motion, if that's okay with you, Legislator Torres? Okay. That's coming from the county attorney, so I'm trusting that that's the proper procedure. Other comments on the proposed amendment to the resolution? I will ask the county attorney to explain how we will implement this motion if it is adopted.
Thank you. If this is adopted, it's essentially rolling back to the original resolution that came in front of committee, which would be a 5% occupancy tax, 3/5 which would go towards tourism, and 2/5 which would go towards the lakes and waterways.
So we would change the resolution by
substitution. We'd substitute in the original resolution that came in front of admin services and auto control.
Thank you. Now that we're clear on what this amendment means, are there any other questions or comments on the amendment? Legislator Parker.
Can we have this voted on by roll call, please?
I certainly will. I was planning on that.
Thank you.
Thank you for the suggestion.
Essentially, we're just going back to the status quo
Yes.
with this amendment?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Any other comments, questions on the motion to amend the resolution? Hearing none, would the clerk please call the roll on the motion to amend?
Mr. Bankowski is absent. Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Gustafson. Mr. Harmon is absent. Mr. Heiser.
Yes.
Mr. Hemmer is absent. Mr. Muldowney is absent. Mr. Nelson.
Yes.
Mr. Nebel.
Yes.
Ms. Parker. Yes. Mr. Pavlock.
Yes.
Mr. Penhollow.
Yes.
Mr. Proctor.
Yes.
Mrs. Rankin is absent. Mr. Scudder.
Yes.
Mr. Torres.
Yes.
Ms. Vanstrom. Mr. Wilfong.
Yes.
Chairman Shagnon.
Yes.
Okay, there are 14 yes votes and 5 absent. The amendment passes.
Okay, so Resolution 108-23 is now amended. Legislator Torres, I would recognize you at this point if you wanted to.
I respectfully move to table this resolution, refer it back to the appropriate committees, including the planning and economic development.
Okay, we have a motion by Legislator Torres to table the resolution as amended. Is there a second to the motion? Not hearing a second. The motion.
Oh, I apologize. Withdraw. I'm sorry.
Okay, you're withdrawing your motion.
Yes.
Okay, so there is no motion to table.
No motion.
Okay, then we have Resolution 108-23 as amended. Is there any discussion on that resolution as amended? Hearing none, would the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Bankowski is absent. Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Gustafson.
Yes.
Mr. Harmon is absent. Mr. Heiser.
Yes.
Mr. Hemmer is absent. Mr. Muldowney, absent. Mr. Nelson.
Yes.
Mr. Nebel.
Yes.
Ms. Parker. Mr. Pavlik,
Yes.
Mr. Penhollow,
Yes.
Mr. Proctor,
Yes.
Mrs. Rankin is absent, Mr. Scudder,
Yes.
Mr. Torres,
Yes.
Ms. Vanstrom, Mr. Wilfong,
Yes.
Chairman Shagnon.
Yes.
There are 14 yes votes and 5 absent. The resolution is adopted. (109-23) requesting continuation of state legislation authorizing 1% additional sales tax.
Legislator Parker.
I would like to make a motion to amend the date on this on this resolution to November 2025 from November 2026.
Okay, we have a motion to amend by Legislator Parker and a second by Legislator Vanstrom. Would the county attorney please explain the reason for the proposed amendment?
Sure, thank you. When this resolution was originally drafted, there was some talk that New York State may automatically extend this 1% tax. While that was still pending, I thought it was wise to at least put it in there, as we have done in the past, that this would be extended for 3 years to 2026. Just this morning, I received notice that the state will not be automatically extending it, and they requested that any resolutions of this nature be set to expire November 30th, 2025. So just following that guidance that we received, that's the purpose of this amendment.
Thank you. Now, are there any questions or comments on the motion to amend Resolution 109-23? Legislator Scudder.
If I might, just another point of clarification. We are not adding another 1%. We're just maintaining our 8%. That can be a little confusing. We are not putting an additional, we're putting the addition onto the 7% to make it 8%, which where we've been for several years now. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments on the motion to amend? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion to amend Resolution 109-23, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It is amended. Now, any questions or comments on Resolution 109-23 as amended? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
110-23 authorized public hearing on a local law adopting the volunteer firefighter and volunteer ambulance worker exemption.
Are there any comments or questions on the resolution? Legislator Nebel.
Mr. Chairman, this is just a resolution to authorize the public hearing. We'll have more details for the committees and for the members of the legislature next month.
Thank you. Thank you for your work on this. Any other comments or questions on the resolution? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
111-23 authorized lease agreement with Warwick Plaza LLC for Chautauqua County Department of Mental Hygiene Mobile Crisis Team office space.
Are there any comments or questions on the resolution? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
112-23 establishing a county salary commission.
Are there any comments, any discussion on the resolution? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
113-23 authorized settlement of opioid litigation with CVS.
Are there any comments or are there any questions on the resolution? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
114-23 authorized settlement of opioid litigation with Walgreens.
Any questions, any comments on the resolution? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
115-23 authorized settlement of opioid litigation with Walmart.
Are there any questions or comments on the resolution? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Carried. Legislator Vanstrom.
Introduce an emergency resolution for the purchase of a 2005 Freightliner ambulance and amend emergency services 2023 budget.
So you're making a motion to bring an emergency resolution to the floor?
Yes.
Thank you. And a second by Legislator Parker. Are there any questions or comments on the motion to bring the emergency resolution to the floor? Hearing none, all those in favor of bringing the emergency resolution to the floor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? It is on the floor. Now, are there any comments or questions on the emergency resolution? Legislator Vanstrom.
I'm grateful that we have this opportunity to make a bad situation into a positive situation. And I think we're going to use this equipment for the best purposes possible. We're always fighting for money for emergency services and to increase our availability towards our communities. And I'm grateful that we have this opportunity.
Okay. At this time, I'll have the county attorney explain a little bit about this resolution.
Sure. Thank you. There was a county ambulance known as A71. It was recently damaged in an accident and is beyond repair. This time, the county does have the opportunity to purchase a vehicle from the village of Fredonia for a very reasonable price, and actually the sale and the insurance recoveries will help offset that. And so it's necessary to have this, as Legislator Vanstrom said, have this working ambulance on the road. And so that's the purpose of the emergency resolution, was that this ability came forward, at this time. So it's being presented.
Okay, thank you. Now, any further questions or comments on the emergency resolution? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. That brings us to motions.
How many signatures do we need for motions?
Pardon?
How many signatures do we need?
10.
10. Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. Okay, sorry. The first motion on the agenda has received the required amount of signatures to bring to the floor. Motion A, proclaiming March 20th through 24th Agricultural Literacy Week in Chautauqua County.
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried.
The second motion on the agenda has received the required amount of signatures to bring to the floor. Motion B, proclaiming April as Donate Life Month in Chautauqua County.
Any comments? Any discussion on the motion? Legislator Proctor.
I'd just like to say that 5 years ago, I lost my brother unexpectedly, and he was an organ donor. And just knowing that someone else, hopefully, is still walking around in this world, seeing things through the corneas and breathing life through his lungs, lessens the pain somewhat. And as Mr. Barone said in the privilege of the floor, this is an extremely important thing for many, many people. And to bring awareness to it is incredibly important. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments, discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Motion C on the agenda has received the required amount of signatures to bring to the floor, proclaiming March Women's History Month.
Any comments, any discussion on the motion? Legislator Nelson.
To add that I'm proud to support this and that women's history is American history. And since the founding of our nation, they have played an integral part of our nation's history and the success of our nation. So I was glad to sign on to this.
Thank you. Any other comments, discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. That brings us to announcements on our agenda. Are there any legislators with announcements? Legislator Gustafson.
Yes, the town of Busti in 2023 is celebrating their bicentennial, and they will be celebrating that with a kickoff on Sunday, April 16th at the Lakewood Rod and Gun from 1:30 to 8:30. They'll have an opening ceremony, chicken barbecue, activities for the kids, and the evening will be ended with fireworks at 8:30. So if you can help Busti celebrate their bicentennial, it would be great.
Thank you. Any other announcements? Hearing none. The next item on our agenda is the second privilege of the floor. Members of the public may comment on any subject. A member of the legislature may speak on any subject. Individual comments are limited to 3 minutes, and comments representing a group shall be limited to 5 minutes. Is there anyone wishing to address the second privilege of the floor?
Hello. My name's Ida Golden. I'm a Chautauqua County resident. Speaking on behalf of the Western New York Freedom Seekers and also an affiliate of ours, Uniting New York State. I'm here to update you on the isolation quarantine camp lawsuits. Senator Borrello, Congressman Lawyer, Assemblyman Tega, and the citizen group Uniting New York State brought the suit against the governor and the State Department of Health. In July, Supreme Court Judge Donald Plotz declared the forced quarantine regulation unconstitutional. It is null, void, and unenforceable. The court has prohibited the governor and the Department of Health from continuing to issue the regulation after an extension and hours before the deadline on March 13th. New York Attorney General Letitia James filed an appeal to overturn the win. I'm going to quote from the Brownstone Institute article written by the attorney of the case, Bobby Ann Cox, March 14th, 2023, titled, Governor Hochul Files Appeal in Quarantine Camp Lawsuit. And I will send you all the email with the full article. Quote, the regulation. For anyone unfamiliar with this regulation, it allows the Department of Health to pick and choose which New Yorker they could lock up or lock down with no proof that you were ever even exposed, let alone sick with a communicable disease. They could have locked you down in your home or could remove you from your home and force you into quarantine in a facility of their choosing. There is no time restriction, so you could have been quarantined for however long they require, days, weeks, months. There is no age restriction, so they could have done this to you, your child, or your grandchild, etc. In true fashion of a totalitarian regime, they could have told you what you could and couldn't do while in quarantine. They literally could have controlled your every move. The regulation allowed them to use law enforcement to enforce their orders of isolation and quarantine, which means you could have received a knock on the door from your local police or sheriff telling you that you had to go with them by order of the health department. Furthermore, this regulation had no procedure by which you could be released from quarantine, no way for you to try to negotiate your way out, and it was not COVID-19 specific. There was a laundry list of communicable diseases that could have triggered the nightmare loss of freedom. Disease such as Lyme, toxic shock syndrome, COVID-19, and many others, end quote. You may be thinking this will never happen. Ask yourself then, why are they pouring money into these programs and this lawsuit? Why are they fighting it? Legislators must be mindful of the larger picture when voting on resolutions. Clearly, the governor is telling us what she intends to do with her power. She has lured us into free money for programs that ultimately are pieces to a larger plan and is using our tax dollars against us. Stop funding programs that like wastewater surveillance, isolation quarantine housing, and the Fellows Program, which ultimately gives her an army of 1,000 statewide employees to follow Department of Health directives. Be mindful of how Department of Health works around transparency, circumventing both the state and local legislature. Department of Health outsources programs to nonprofits and health networks. This is the workaround. We need to pray that she is unsuccessful and take action, spread the word, speak up, stay informed, and donate to the suit. I'll be sending you the email tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to address the second privilege of the floor?
My name is Anthony Chota, and I live at 144 Clifton Avenue in Jamestown, New York. First, I'd like to say there is a direct contact with federal representatives, senators, and congressmen with this body, and ARPA is an example. I'm addressing the continuation of the crimes being perpetrated upon myself by federal agencies here in Chautauqua County and elsewhere. After I sought help from New York State Senator Charles Schumer to bring forth an investigation of these perpetrators, Senator Schumer continues to deliberately refuse to assist me, resulting in the protection of these criminal perpetrators and their crimes. Such an action by Senator Schumer makes him complicit in these crimes, which is a crime in itself. Senator Schumer should be removed from the Senate and be subject to prosecution for this crime. Now, historically, when I made complaints by telephone to the Buffalo field office of the FBI, their agents responded by stating they threatened my life, they admitted to tampering with my vehicle, and they harassed me during those calls. Those are just examples. I brought some of this recorded telephone evidence to then New York State Senator Hillary Clinton's office on Church Street in Buffalo, New York. Upon review, an office staff member stated to me that the evidence was going to be introduced on the floor of the Senate of the United States. To silence myself, I was subsequently and without cause arrested by the Jamestown police for harassing the FBI in Buffalo, New York. When my retained lawyer failed to appear on my behalf at the arraignment, I then stated in my own defense to several U.S. attorneys present that the FBI Buffalo field office was harassing me. The result was the case was never prosecuted. I then returned to Senator Hillary Clinton's Church Street office and found that a guardhouse was placed just inside the entrance with a picture of my silhouette on the front of the wall on the guardhouse. The guard, an elderly person, then denied me access to Senator Clinton, my representative. I was continuing to pursue these crimes upon myself by requesting assistance by the present Senator Charles Schumer, and his inaction is protecting constant continuation of many crimes upon myself by federal agencies. And I just want to say one thing about the occupancy tax. One of the speakers was right. You need notice and opportunity to be heard. The tax was excessive, oppressive, and would have been denied by the legislature on that basis. And also it was denying equal opportunity under the law. And if you want to check into the legal part of it, your attorney can do that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next.
Hi there. My name is Adam Levine. I'm a researcher at Johns Hopkins University. So I've come up from Baltimore to address you tonight. The reason why I'm here is because I'm partnering with the New York State Association of Counties, NYSAC, especially Mark Levine and Ryan Grogod there. And it's on a new initiative, and also a researcher at Cornell. And it's a new initiative to strengthen connections between research and policy at the county level. And that's related to sort of any sort of child and family policy. And so as I've been here all night and listening to other agenda items, some of the issues that we're doing this throughout counties or in counties throughout upstate New York, And some of the kinds of issues that have come up tonight related to mobile services, related to mental health, related to personnel are absolutely issues that we've worked with other counties on so far and continue to even right now. And so the way that this initiative works, though, is that we have a quick phone call with you, and it's driven by whatever sort of challenges you're dealing with right now. We have a quick phone call with you, and then we produce a research brief that responds to whatever your needs are. And that's really it. And we aim to be really responsive and really quick. And so I don't visit every county at the same time, but I sort of try to do it in a staggered way so that we can respond as quickly as possible. So anyway, the way that I should also say that this is completely free to you. Our work is funded by the William T. Grant Foundation, which is a private foundation that wants to build stronger connections between research and policy. And I'm happy to say more about sort of other kinds of examples. Again, we're working with counties all throughout New York right now in partnership with NYSAC. In terms of the process, I like to come and introduce myself. I also like to see the legislature in action. What I will do after tonight is send folks, particularly folks who are on kind of the relevant committees, an email just sort of saying like, would you like to sort of, schedule a conversation? We have lots of times available, things like that. I'm also happy to take questions right now if that's appropriate. I'm not sure if it is, but also to talk afterwards. Anyway, and then we'll schedule a meeting and then follow up with the research brief as quickly as possible. The last thing I'll just say, sort of on a personal note, I'm no stranger to upstate New York. I actually was a professor at Cornell before the pandemic, but then moved to Baltimore during the pandemic. But anyway, so I'm no stranger to Cornell and no stranger to weird weather fluctuations. And so I'm really glad at least that tonight's meeting didn't get canceled or postponed due to snow, because other ones certainly have. Anyway, thank you so much, and thanks for your time, and I will be following up by email.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to address the second privilege of the floor?
Hello, my name is Ben Shank. I'm from French Creek Township. Freedom and liberty. Freedom and liberty. Our number one goal in governance should be freedom, and with it, liberty. I include myself in governance because the family is the foundation of our society. We are tempted, persuaded, logically even, driven by other pursuits. We argue in our deceived hearts that one man's God-given and therefore holy right is above another's. These other arguments and pursuits will resolve themselves if we value freedom and liberty as our supreme goal. Why? We, all men, male and female, are created in the image of God. We are called by God to bring him glory. We are called by God to love him with all our heart, soul, mind, and strength. God is free to do as he pleases. This is the character of God that we were created in the image of and to aspire to. If we do not place honoring our Creator as our first goal and pursue the freedom of others to do likewise, we forfeit our right to be free because our freedom comes from God. We place ourselves in the seat of God where we have no business being. We have strayed far from this ideal our country was founded on. We say society is too complex to follow this path. Perhaps following this path will resolve so much complexity. I call every countryman, male and female, and myself to a repentant heart, trusting the act Jesus did on the cross and overcoming death through his resurrection, giving us the power to overcome our weakened selves. Almighty God, give us discernment to fulfill the right of every man to the holy freedom and liberty God created for us or for him. Please test my words. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to address the second privilege of the floor? Seeing no one. Legislator Davis. Thank you. And a second by legislator Scudder. And we're all in favor, so we're adjourned. Thank you.